Hey guys, welcome to another commentary done by Diggity. Up right in corner we got LancerX starting as the pink Protoss. Bottom left in corner we got Kik0 starting as the red Terran. This is actually a pretty exciting match here. I think LancerX is probably my favorite to win the entire thing. He's one of those guys that actually tends to tip in the upper tier of Gosuleague. I'm actually surprised he's in tier 2 Gosuleague this season, but tends to dip into Pro League here and there even. Or is it certainly a contender towards that direction. Kik0, a very strong Terran player, of course. I think he'll be at a slight disadvantage being at cross map on Radion, mostly because my instinct is that if he's going to take down LancerX, it's probably not going to be in a long-term extended macro game. It would more likely be with either 5 factory +1 or +2 or a +2 or a 2 factory flood, or maybe some vultures, but we'll see. Maybe Kik0 has something in store might have practice for this match. Keep in mind this is also the tiebreakers, just to sort things out for the round of 12. Moving forward to see where for placements and things like that, I believe. Between these, yeah, I'm trying to think of anything else to comment. I'm sorry about the color swap, by the way. Again, it's yellow versus yellow if I do the top versus bottom thing, so we're just going to stick with 2 shades of red. Kind of, I don't know when my brain's going back to the comment I made. I remember being in elementary school and having crayons and needing pink for some reason. And someone said like, well, pink is just light red. And I remember just taking a red crayon and using it very lightly. And I was like, yeah, that's basically pink. And that was that experience. I don't know why I felt like sharing that with you guys right here, as that was an aspect in the previous commentary, but mostly it was, I think previously it was going on about how pink is a masculine color in other cultures, but I digress. 12 Nexus, cross spawn, usually a very, very strong build for Protoss, oftentimes at the horizontal, or I think in particular the horizontal position, but sometimes in the vertical position can be somewhat dicey. Gives Terrans some option to press into it, but at cross position usually pays out very, very well for Protoss and has kind of become a standard build order, I think, in the general Protoss assortment. Before it was kind of a niche, you're going to try to macro a niche sneak thing, and now maybe because of the size of the maps, I think it's the size of the maps more than anything, it's made this a little bit more of a standard thing. I wonder if they've been doing that actually to try to give Protoss a little bit more play in the pro scene, to just make the, I don't know. Anyway, factory plop down here for Kik0. I presume he's going to continue with the 3 Marines. That tends to be his typical play. He's not really going to have an ability to optimize either if he was going to skip a Marine or 2, because that 3rd Marine's probably going to be queued up and near finished. And unfortunately for Kik0 as well, he went bottom right, top left for Scout. Interesting logic on that, because I feel like I've heard in the past that you want to, oh, never mind, 2 factory, and kind of a hidden 2 factory as well. This is going to, so we got an additional Marine constructed, but all of the way this is looking, is he going to let the probe in and draw back? Probably not. Might as well just deny the information up front if you're able to. But kind of an odd placement on this factory to the rear corner here as well. And I'm wondering if the purpose of this, I don't know why this is placed this far away. Usually you want this, if you are going to go 2 factory, you want it closer, just so you can field the units a little bit more rapidly, unless this is going to be some sort of delay attempt. And he's thinking, okay, if it's maybe going to go for a 3 factory push build that I've not yet spotted. 4th Marine sitting on the ramp, by the way, SCV is able to scoot and sees the 12 Nexus, sees the 2nd gateway. Fortunately for Kik0, I think he started this a lot earlier, so he still might have a shot at cross position, but even this, I don't know that it's going to be guaranteed. The probe trying to sneak back. It wants to spot whether these Marine, and oh, isn't able to deny the scouting information, but LancerX, with what he spotted, might not be any of the wiser. Regardless, he's probably going to do something along these lines regardless. Maybe the difference would be a shield battery, but I don't think a lot else. Double machine shop dropped, by the way, and so it's going to be 3 siege tanks. I'm going to guess this is going to be 3 siege tanks, vulture speed and mines, and a lot of vultures pressed after that. As far as the rush, we have 3. I was expecting vulture speed or vulture mine a little bit more rapidly than this, and Kik0 is just sitting off 18 workers. It could be Kik0 looking at the opponent quality in LancerX, was thinking this was going to be his operational basis regardless. Yep, the mine's now upgrading. Unfortunately, a lot of this, this is very powerful when you're able to get there before Dragoon range is finished. with the timing of a lot of this. I don't know that it's going to be there, and I think at cross position, I think Dragoon range is going to be pretty close to finish by the time this is encroaching on LancerX's base. Also, this is down to 16 SCVs. Actually, Kik0, okay, adding in a few more SCVs to at least another SCV for viability. Another probe is sneaking along the edge. As soon as it sees... this is going to be interesting because the Vulture makes its way across. That doesn't necessarily reveal anything. We have Dragoons pushing their way across. Kik0's retreating, actually. Maybe he just wants to gather up his attack forces. He's waiting for the Vultures. Is this a full retreat? That's a surprise. Okay, dropping mines in the space of this. Yeah, just wanted to make sure the Dragoons couldn't sneak by. That buys a lot of time for Lancer. So just dropping 3 mines near the natural, just to make sure those Dragoons wouldn't be able to slip by and wreck the base or cut off reinforcements. Siege upgrading, the Vultures pushing around, Lancer trying to buy what time he can. The Vulture's gonna scoot by. We do have a lot of Dragoons and things elsewise. The Zealot running forward is able to get 2 mines, 3 mines, 4 mines are going to drop out of this forward field. Big splash on several of the Dragoons, however, but Kik0 doesn't have a massive attack force in the space of this. He's going to have to wait for reinforcements. And in that time, we got 3 gateways. The observatory is now queued up. So Lancer, if he micros this really, really well, still is in a pretty good position. Unfortunately, didn't cycle the weakened Dragoons to the rear, and Kik0 barreling in, able to get a lot of mines down. Looks like, oh, and walking too far forward, loses 3 Dragoons instantaneously. Now there's nothing protecting that natural expansion. The tanks can walk forward, group up, and Lancer's certainly going to end up losing his natural in the space of this, and he's going to have an extremely difficult time evicting Kik0. Kik0 also getting a critical mine, 2 mines down on the ramp. Everything else getting cleared. Are we going to see a bunker as well? That would be the chef's kiss in the space of this. Bunker now being placed. 3 siege tanks in position. We do have the robotics up. A shuttle being constructed first, along with a support bay. That's an interesting play here from Lancer. Maybe wanting to go for some Zealot bombs to try to clear out something in the midst of this. Has recognized he's going to lose the Nexus. Maybe he just wants to go for a cross-map counterattack. Unfortunately, I think the SCVs will be able to defend just themselves. Or maybe he was thinking about trying to get on the low ground, but Kik0, not gonna wait, is continuing to press, and so this is kind of 200 wasted minerals. In the midst of this is Kik0 starting to breach forward, dropping an engineering bay on site. Is that the engineering bay? Yeah, he's dropping the engineering bay on site to 1, act as a blockade, but 2, potentially get some turrets eventually out on the field. Tanks can spot, and even with that misfire chance, it's high ground to low ground. Looks like this is now going to be Zealot bombs to try to do some mine dragging. A bit of coverage, nice drag. However, okay, the tank still stands. 12 health left, and no more Zealots. Not a lot of siege tanks left. Kik0 doesn't look like he prioritized a lot of siege tanks moving to the low ground, but is fielding more troops forward. 3 SCVs making the way up there. Now some additional siege tanks queued up to try to provide some additional support. Still a lot of mines on the ground, but we have an observer to clear. Lancer working effectively on max capacity here. Kik0 is grabbing his natural expansion. This is still with that single siege tank. There's enough clutter here in the engineering bay. Gonna spot, oh, there's the Reaver from the high ground. Forgot about that guy. Able to clear out the final siege tank that was at position. And it looks like it's going to scoot out to try to create some counter damage. Now the problem for Kik0 is he's down a good amount of supply. I'm not sure that he got enough damage done with what he was able to do. It looks like he's still getting some pretty good value out of all this, but he's going to have to sit back, defend that natural expansion. Needs to plop a lot of clutter there in a hurry. Is working on some missile turrets. The Reaver making its way back across. And on top of that, Lancer's going to have 8 Dragoons and more coming, potentially, to go for a counterattack. Missile turret is going to be at the natural. We're not going to have a lot of siege tanks to help deal with this shuttle. And there's still a good amount of space, although that shuttle has been, its life has been cut somewhat short. Gets taken out. That was a big, oh, you can see the typing from Lancer in frustration. Okay, I think Lancer's play now is to just go, that was in the midst of that is to maybe just go for a quick third Nexus to try to restabilize, but this is, and Lancer's actually got a pretty solid worker count. It's gonna be a minute before that Nexus comes online and he's able to get anything done with it though. Is queuing up more Reavers, maybe some additional shuttles, still some Vultures around out on the map. We do have 3 factories up for Kik0. As this stands, he's getting a pretty decent siege tank count, finally floating that barracks out to plant it, and at the end of this, Kik0 a little bit down in supply, but up favorably in tech. It's kind of winding around, and right now has the advantage, might be able to take a bit of an economic lead. So natural expansion up, probes now saturating there. And at the end, oddly enough, at the end of this, once this third Nexus is in place, Kik0 might actually end up slightly behind Lancer. It's kind of the power of the cross-spawn Nexus first. Bunch of siege tanks. I don't think this Dragoon attack force is going to be able to accomplish a lot. We're now seeing that flood to 5 factories. Usually see this earlier in the match, but because of all the shenanigans in the early game, not going to end up happening. The mine's going to be cleared. We don't have a lot of other clutter, but this should be plenty for Kik0 to go ahead and push this back. I don't think Lancer is going to suicide into this. Mostly just wants to make sure that a quick third base was not procured by Kik0 as well. +1 weapons is going to be somewhat delayed. We do, never mind, we got +1 weapons queued up. Where is that? Okay, natural expansion. And right now, Lancer, so -10 probes. He's actually about at the supply point he wants to be at for this stage of the game. Does have that third base up, is starting to saturate that. Reaver getting caught out in the forward field, instantly getting wiped out. And the siege tank's not sieging against these Dragoons, and pressing a bit into this, which looks to be a mistake. Mine trying to drop. Oh, that's going to be a big mine. What a huge mine there from Kik0. Planting that in the middle of this, and Lancer now going to have to withdraw. But supply-wise, Lancer still in a very comfortable position. Kik0 needs to get some macro, needs to make sure he can get, he's queuing up some SCVs here at this natural expansion as well. Still sitting at 33. Some Vultures have snuck out. 2 more Zealots and another Reaver in place. We do have 5 factories up. 33 workers across 2 bases is somewhat light. Third base is up. The Vultures sneaking past the pylon wall. Last second here. The Reaver moving in to try to clean this up. But at the very least, the probe count is going to be cut to the quick a little bit. Slightly there. Observers, this is kind of an interesting ghostly. This feels like something out of Halloween. It's like the possession. Also, Kik0's siege tank count somewhat light right this second. Dropping a 3rd command center. Has a Goliath out the field. Is he going to start moving? This feels a little bit brave to be staging forward with just 4 siege tanks. And honestly, not a lot of Vultures nor mines to really cover the spacing. This feels like the mech units are a minority on the map, for certain. Also, you got the 2 observers providing some support. Zealot leg speed not that far from finishing. Scarab upgrade damage also being upgraded, so look for more Reaver bombs upcoming down the line. Speaking of which, attack moving to the natural expansion, and Kik0 again trying to play it light, doesn't have a lot of defense in this position. Initial dud at the very least, but the Reaver picking up, looking for another shot at that SCV line. SCV scattering, and it's another dud. Fortunately here for Kik0, the Zealot's getting some good damage while all this is happening. Another lob, it looks like it's going to be another dud. Never mind, able to get 2 SCVs this time. Kik0 not mining right this second. Finally drawing some troops back, but the Reaver able to get a good amount of damage done. A lot of duds in the midst of this, but still, this has been completely delayed mining. Oh, come on, SCVs, get out of there. Oh, man, and Kik0... Kik0 doing the counter. It's been that sort of game. And also Kik0 missing some macro in the space of this, so he's got the 3rd base up, but he's at half the supply of LancerX at the end of everything. And Lancer can honestly contest the 3rd if he wants to. Actually, Kik0 just GG's right there. I think recognizing the position. So game 1 didn't give the GG, just exited. They probably GG'd off screen. Game 1 goes to LancerX in a fairly convincing fashion. Wild one. Let's see what happens in game 2. Thanks for listening.